Anne-Marie, and a very, very warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining me for this workout. If you join me live, we will just have a couple of minutes of calming, relaxing breathing just while we wait for everyone to get ready, get their bits and bobs together. All you need is a mat, head pads. If you wish to have a drink of water, have that with you. Otherwise, we'll just have a couple of minutes to calm down. So we'll just go for some lovely full wide breathing. If we breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, and hold. Try and slow it down if you can. In, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, out. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, one more time. In, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, out. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Okay, lovely. Hopefully that's just brought you a little bit of calm before we get going. It's all going to be quite a mobility focused workout tonight. I really wanted to think about getting our bodies moving smoothly, really working through ranges of motion, working to try and find the endpoints of where we can get to with our bodies in terms of their flexibility, how they move. Especially since at funny times, maybe you're spending more time sitting around, not moving quite as much at the moment. Maybe you're getting out more, which is fantastic if you are, but that might also make you feel a little bit achy if you're being out in the garden and you're not so used to it. So let's really focus tonight on getting ourselves feeling great, feeling mobile, feeling ready for whatever the week's got to bring us. Okay, as always, I've not planned for any injuries or anything like that. Please listen to your body. I will try and give you ideas for things you might want to try that's different, but if anything hurts, anything you don't like, give it a rest. Just take a break, sit in child's pose, just take a break, have a drink, whatever you want to do. Okay, and on that note, let's get going. So let us start today, as we always do, with our alignment. So we're just going to think about having the feet directly under the hips. So we're just going to rock forwards and backwards. Pushing the body weight all the way through to the toes, pushing it back to the heels, really concentrating on feeling the whole of our feet. You can spread the toes out, get some movement under the arches of the feet, and letting the body weight come to settle right in the middle in terms of the front and back. And we're just going to rock the ankles out and in. So I always like to start workouts just making sure that our feet are where they should be, because the feet help us to get all the other bits of the legs in the right, nice, comfortable position so that we can be concentrated on making sure that our position is right for us. So if it's comfy, feet directly under the hip bones, so the hip bones, pointy bits at the front of the hip, and then moving up, we've got the body weight now settled in the middle of the feet, moving up. The knees are just gently soft, so they're not locked out, but you're still getting the sensation of feeling tall. Moving up through to the pelvis, we're just going to tuck the hips under and over. So allowing that movement into the lower back from the side, you're really focusing on allowing that lower back to flex underneath and flex backwards, so the bum's getting all the way back and then tucking right under, but just allowing the lower part of the spine to get some really nice movement into it. Okay, and letting that come to settle. So if there's a bowl of water in the pelvis, it's just settling in the middle. It feels nice and even. You're not side to side rocked, and forwards and back, you're nice and comfy. Going up through the spine, we'll pull up tall through the spine. So we've got a small arch at the lower back. The ribs are directly over the hips, and then nicely even over each side, okay? From here, working up through the spine, I want you to bring your shoulders forwards, up, back, and tuck them down your back. So really feel the shoulder blades easing down the back, in towards the back pockets. That's going to open out your arms, open out the shoulders. The hands are probably going to point forwards maybe in towards the side. But they'll just get that stretching sensation at the front of the chest, that little squeeze at the back. Still focusing on the length in the spine and standing up nice and tall. So your chin should be level with the floor and looking forwards and feeling long and strong from here. Okay, I'm getting all tongue-tied tonight, aren't I? It's terrible. Okay, we're all good. We're all good. And from here, we're going to have that full and wide breathing. So breathing in, allowing the rib cage to expand. So it can be helpful to have your hands on your rib cage to feel that breath in. Feel the fingertips ease apart. And as you breathe out, they come back together. And that should feel really nice, calming, relaxing. Focusing quite a slow breath. Just allowing the oxygen to get through into the body. And dampen down any tension you're feeling. So just allowing yourself to relax and calm down into it. Okay. So we're aligned. We've got lovely calming breathing going on. And now we're going to think about how we're contracting the core. Now tonight I want you to visualise that hipster belt analogy. So that hipster belt with 10 notches on the belt, okay? So on your next full and wide breath in, I want you to tighten the belt around the hips as though you're onto the 10th notch on the belt. And it's really pulling in tight. And it's really actually quite tricky to talk when you've got that much tension at the bottom of your core area. And release there. And just relax. And on the next breath in, I'm going to get you to bring it up to the 5th notch on the belt. So as you breathe in, a 50% contraction, so just a half contraction. That's feeling much more comfortable, but again, probably still a bit too much to be able to hold for a prolonged period. So we'll relax that down. And this time on your next breath in, I just want you to go to that 30% contraction. So breathe in, and just that gentle contraction. So you're feeling that connection between the ribs and the hips, that tightening, gentle tightening around the hips. You might feel the sensation of the pelvic floor pulling up inside you. It's all kind of connected. It's all just gently holding and tucking in, but not too tight, not uncomfortable at all. Great. So from here, we're properly going to warm ourselves up, okay? We're going to start, as I always like to do as well, with some shoulder rolls. So really letting the fingertips lead this move, making the move big, slow, just really reaching all the way up, seeing how far we can get our hands backwards. Maybe the hands go past the shoulders, maybe they don't, that's fine. You're working within what your body is comfortable with, okay? So we've got that nice tall reach. I've still got the shoulder blades drawn down the back, so even though the arms are coming high, the shoulder blades are still drawn down. Still got that lovely tension. Just holding those shoulder blades together and really opening out. And just one more. How high can you get it this time? Reach, reach, reach. And wide. Lovely. And I just want to warm up your neck tonight. So from this central position, if you imagine kind of a midline down your head, I just want you to let one ear drop down towards the shoulder. So easing it down. We're just going to hold it here just a little bit. And with the opposite hand, I want you to reach that down to the floor. So you're getting this nice stretch down kind of the side of the neck, the top of the shoulder and side of the neck. If you want to and it's comfortable, and only if it is comfortable for you, you can use the opposite hand just to ease a little bit more the head to the side, the ear down towards the shoulder. But any pain whatsoever in this, please don't do it, okay? And taking it over. So take it over the top, take the other ear to the shoulder. Again, just feel that nice stretching tension down the side of the neck as I reach the fingers down towards the floor with the opposite hand. And if you wish to, you can gently, gently just ease the head over. But it is gentle. Lovely. Okay, and from here, coming back to the middle, I'm just going to look over the shoulder. So taking the gaze right over the shoulder and feeling the rotation in the neck tonight. Should just get, again, a stretch down the outside part of the neck. And take it over to the other side. Lovely. You may just about hear my hamster in the background. I think he's swimming in his food bowl. That's one of his favourite activities. He does enjoy that. Okay, so we've got a little bit of movement into our neck. I want to show you a move standing up called chicken wings. The reason I want to show it you like this It's because if you're not used to it, when I ask you to do it on the floor, you'll be like, well, what is she on about? She's crazy. Okay, so we're going to take the arms above the head and imagine you're grabbing onto a bar, or you're grabbing on something that you're trying to pull down, or a pull-up bar that you're trying to pull yourself up. And I want you to ease the elbows down towards the waist. So I'm getting real tension down the sides of my back. These big bat wing muscles, called your lats down here, that's where the tension is. I'm squeezing down and reaching up, and squeezing down and reaching up. And actually it's quite a nice little workout for your back. But you're getting mobility as well in the retraction of the shoulder blades as you're doing it. So you're gently pulling them back, pulling them down, easing the elbows down towards roughly waist level. But you can almost, as you're going, squeeze those biceps. So see how those guns are going? So squeeze and pull and reach up. Squeeze and pull. So when I ask you later on, we'll do some shoulder bridges, and if you wish to, this is the move I'm going to ask you to do with your arms. And what I want you to think about is this pulling down. So I'm visualising my elbows drawing down towards the waist as I'm pulling with my hands to bring something down towards kind of head neck level. Wonderful. And release that there. So in terms of a bit of rotation, I just want you to imagine that wiping the counter move that we do. So take the feet a little bit wider. Imagine you've got this lovely big wipe in your hands, and you're going to reach round all the way around to the back. We'll alternate arms. So we're getting some rotation through the spine, rotation through the hips, we're getting some movement into the legs. We're watching our hand, so the whole of the spine is getting this lovely rotation. And a couple more. And then going in the other direction, so sweeping back in. So you're bringing all the things back in towards and past the middle, and getting that reach across with the arm. Again, the rotation through the spine, the movement in the legs. Lovely. Right. And from here, just coming back to neutral, I just want you to get some movement into the wrists tonight. So just circling through the wrists. Imagine you're drawing as big a circles as you possibly can with your middle finger. So just do 5, 6, 7 in one direction, and then switching directions. But forcing the hands to go round in these lovely big movements. Again, it shouldn't be uncomfortable. And if your wrists are not so comfy, it might just be quite small circles for you. It's absolutely fine, okay? So just work within your range of movement. Now we're going to do some rolling down. So I'm going to stand side on so that you can see. We're starting in that neutral position. Switch on that hipster belt, but standing up nice and tall. And when you're ready, just tuck the chin and roll it down. So my core is still switched on. We're going to do a few of these, so don't worry about getting all the way down to the bottom too soon. Take it at your pace, okay? There's no rush. If you want to take it slower, by all means do so. If you want to go a bit quicker, by all means do so. Don't make it jerky. It doesn't need to be jerky. We're just trying to smooth out our movement tonight. That's the aim of the game, really. Getting all these movements smooth, controlled, really nice, long, full range of movement. Each time I'm going down, it starts with the chin dropping, and each time, a vertebrae by vertebrae, I'm coming forwards. Okay? And I'm slowly getting further and further into a range of movement. Restacking those vertebrae bit by bit. Last thing to come up to the head. If you want to, you can have a little extension at the top. And just open out the chest before you take it all the way back down. But you're always going back through neutral as a minimum. Okay, and starting to get that tension in the hamstrings, these big muscles at the back of the legs getting, when you get down towards the bottom. So coming to roughly quite a long way into your range of movement now. So if you can normally touch your toes, you should be getting around about there by now. Okay. You can get your hands flat on the floor, you should be getting towards that as well. If you can get them part way down your shins, that's where you want to be. Okay, so really working. And if you need to, if it's this tension in your hamstrings that's stopping the movement, so you can't
fully flex into the back, just loosen that joint up. Just allow the knees to bend.
If you're finding any discomfort in those hamstrings, but you'd like to be able to let the spine go down a little bit further. So keep going, restacking up, coming back to that neutral spine. And this time, when you get to the bottom, I'm going to ask that you walk your hands forward. So if you need to bend your knees to get your hands down, do that. But walk your hands forwards until we get to something like a downward dog position. And you can walk your feet. So the heels alternately walk down into the floor. And just getting that stretch, moving down the back of the legs. Pushing the chest down towards the knees, towards the shins. Okay, and after you've done maybe 8 or 10, pedaling with your feet, walk your hands back in and rolling back up to the top. Back through neutral, and we will do that one more time. So rolling back down, all the way to the bottom. If you need to bend the legs, do so. Walking the hands out and going back into that downward dog. Again, if you wish to, pedal the feet. So we're staying quite dynamic movement. We're continuing to move. For now, if you want to, you can just hold that downward dog position. So gently ease the heels towards the floor, ease the chest towards the shins. Trying to keep the back straight, the bum's nice and high. If you need to bend into the knees to release tension in the hamstrings, you can do that. Up from here, walking the hands back towards the feet. Walking the hands back. And you can just hang out here. Hang out with the head down. Allow the spine just to remain long. Having a few full and wide calming breaths here. Core still and contracted and engaged. Still got the hips to belt on. And rolling up, rolling back up. Rolling back up. Lovely. So we're just going to do a couple of little knee lifts to curling up the back. So hamstring curl. So looking from the front, just lifting the knee up and curling the foot towards the bottom of the back. So I'm warming up the hip, warming up the knee joint. Just making sure we're all nice and flexible before we get going. We've done about 4 or 5 on one side. We do the same on the other side just to make sure we're nice and even. There's a little knee lift into a hamstring curl. So knee lift, hamstring curl, kicking the foot towards the bottom. Lovely. Really feeling that we're quite nice and warm now. You might be a little bit, starting to get a bit out of puff. A little bit warmer, feeling good. Wonderful, because that means you are ready for my favourite bit. Whoop whoop, it is balance time. So, tonight I've got 2 balances. I do enjoy doing a double balance. So the first one, we're just going to do some circles, single leg circles. Now optionally, if you wish to, and you have something reasonably firm, you can stand, if you've got something like a yoga block or similar, you can stand on. And actually it makes it a little bit trickier because there's a little bit of movement in this. It's not a really solid surface. You don't have to, okay? So if you're on the floor, like so, you can still do the movement. But for a little extra challenge, if you want to stand on something like a yoga block, that would be perfect. So standing up nice and tall, keeping neutral, knee is soft, core engaged. Just going to draw circles with our other leg. So where I'm feeling this, the standing leg, it's the ankle, getting some movement into it. Now maybe 5 or 6 in one direction, and then switch directions for me. Lovely. So if you need to hang on to something, do that, that's fine. Okay, we're going to do it again in the other direction, but see if you can do it with your arms raised this time. So by making yourself a little bit longer, you might feel a bit less balanced. Again, if you want to hang on instead to something steady like a chair or wall, please do so. Switch directions. Lovely. So really feeling that standing leg working now. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. This time I want to make the circles really big, and that's going to put you quite a bit more off balance. So if you can, but we're working into the mobility of that hip joint. Try if you can to make these circles smooth. It's really tricky actually, and the natural inclination that I've got at the moment is to make them quite jerky and try and make sure that I'm compensating so I don't fall over. Okay, so again, 5 or 6 in one direction, and then 5 or 6 the other. I'm really feeling it now in this standing leg. Can you make these last couple of circles that little bit bigger? Lovely, take a rest there. Whoop. Okay, you might be feeling that, might be feeling the calves, done quite a bit of work there, and the quads at the front. Same thing other side, okay? So we'll start with the easier option. Again, if you want to grab onto something, do it, and it'll probably feel different. So don't be surprised if you do something different to the last time. Okay, let's start with those circles. Again, top tip when you're doing balance, find something stationary to look at. Be it a picture on the wall, be it a light switch, whatever you've got in front of you. Best not me, because I'm moving. Okay, so after 5 or 6 in one direction, let's go 5 or 6 in the other. Okay, and we're going to think about the challenge here. So again, this standing leg is soft, I've got the core switched on, the shoulder blades are still drawn down the back. So posture is still looking good. Right, now switch it back, arms up if you can. So reaching up towards the ceiling. Make yourself long. Long and strong. Okay, and after 5 or 6, again, switch directions. Okay, again, this standing leg, you can really feel it moving. All this compensation it's having to do, but continually moving. Right, are we ready for the final ones? Big, 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 big. Really working through that hip mobility. Try and keep the hips level if you can, and try and keep the, I'm going, pointing to the front. Lovely, good work, keep going. Right, switch directions, we are nearly there. Make it big. So work the glute to bring the leg back, work those abductors to get the leg out. It's all going on. Fantastic. All right, one more. We can do it. Yeah. Awesome work. Okay. We've got one more. I'm going to do this without a block because I think that is asking for trouble. Okay, we'll move the block to the one side. So, just to get you set up with what the arms are going to do, start from our neutral position. We're just going to do some bow and arrow arms. So bringing the arms in front of your shoulders, I want you to draw one arm back and let it sweep down. And we'll stay on the same side. You're thinking, this isn't hard, I can do this, this is not balance really, this is alright. Okay, here's the challenge. Right, I want you to bring one knee up. Okay, and now, same thing with the arms. So we've got the upper body moving, the hip flexors are working to keep that knee up. If you need to tap the toe down, you can do so. So you might at this stage be thinking, okay, I'm still just about okay, just about managing. Right, this is the next level on this exercise. I want your eyes to go in the same direction as your hand, so follow your hand. And it's so tricky, I'm wobbling all over the place. Okay, follow your hand and bring it down. So follow your hand. And as always, you're working at your level. So if this is a bit too much, keep that gaze in front. If it's too much having the leg raised, keep the toe down. Okay? Just a couple more, big reach. Watch that hand if you can. Wonderful. Take a rest, okay? So you're probably feeling both legs on that one because you've got the standing leg wobbling all over the place. You've got the other one that's been raised, arms going everywhere. You've done a good job. Okay, we're so nearly there. Are you ready? So let's just get that arm movement first. Draw down the shoulder blades, taking the bow and arrow, okay? So to start with, you can keep looking forwards, just getting the arm movement comfortable. Okay, from here, if you're ready, bring the other knee up. So it's the same knee up as the arm that's drawing back. And keep looking forwards. Keep looking forwards. I think there's going to be a couple of different camps of people here. There's some people going, what's she doing? I can't even do this one, it's crazy. And there'll be some people going, yeah, I'm just about making this happen. It's all right, it's all right. Very good. Okay, so here's the more challenging version. Watch that hand that's moving. And you can see I'm really struggling too, guys. I'm in it with you. But it's great to challenge yourself. So keep going with the option that's working for you. Okay? Keep that knee high, bring it up a couple of inches if you can. Keep it high. Keep it high. Oh, we're getting there, we're getting there. Last one, last one, last one. Can you do it? Pull it back, pull it back. Awesome. Fantastic. Well done. Oh gosh, it's all right, we're going to the floor. Don't panic. Don't panic, we're nearly there, okay? So just going, where should we go? Let's go to the front of the mat. Okay, we're just going to roll down at the front. So shoulder blades drawn down, we're going to roll down. So the core is engaged. It's lovely posture. And we just got this lovely, nice, calm roll down. Hang in at the bottom when you're ready. Bend the knees, we're going to come down onto our backs. So come down wherever's comfy for you. If it's not comfy to do it like that, by all means, do whatever works for you. Okay, so our first move is on our back. If you normally have a cushion or something behind your head, please do so. If you don't need one in particular. This exercise, we're going to do some single leg circles. So I think we did this relatively recently. But what we're aiming for is kind of getting the movement into that hip joint, the mobility around the hip joint. So let's get our neutral position lying down. Start with your feet together. Take your heels out, toes out, and let the knees follow. So your knees, feet and hips should all be kind of hip distance apart, these bony bits on the front of your hips, okay? Just relax them. Just give them a little wobble, relax, chill out, okay? So that should all be nicely aligned. I just want you to imagine you've got a marble on your tummy and you're rolling that marble, and the marble is going towards your feet as you arch your lower back and towards your head as you tuck the lower back down towards the mat. So you're rolling a marble. Sometimes we talk about this, or I talk about it like you've got a torch on the front of your pelvis or a pencil. And this time we're just thinking about rolling the marble. And you're finding that lovely neutral position, so the marble's slowly tilting less and less and coming back and forth less and less. Till you find that neutral position where there's a small gap under your lower back. The pelvis is neutral side to side, all nice and even. I'm drawing now all the way up through the spine. The spine is long, I'm keeping that little gap under my back. My shoulders are allowed to relax down towards the mat. They're opening out, the shoulder blades drawn down the back, so the neck feels long. Got a really nice distance between my ears and my shoulders as the shoulder blades draw down and the back is comfortable on the mat. Okay, so we're in our lying neutral position. Let's remember our breathing. So let's go back for that full and wide breathing. If you want to, you can remind yourself with your fingers on your rib cage. As we breathe in, the ribs go out. And then the ribs are acting like billows, opening and closing. Okay, and I want you to put on that hipster belt. Go for that third notch in the hipster belt. So just a gentle tightening around the hips. Pelvic floor gently drawing up inside. We're all good to go. We breathe in, the core is on, and as we breathe out, I want you to float one knee up towards the ceiling. And it is a float, so you've got this 90 degrees at the knees. The foot is floppy, the calf is floppy. It's just all nice and relaxed. Actually, the upper body is all nice and relaxed. All that's going is my core and this hip flexor to hold this position. From here, I just want you to draw circles. So imagine there is now a torch or a pencil on the end of your knee, and I'm asking you to draw small circles on the ceiling. Okay? Now what I'm thinking about is keeping the hips level. The leg that is remaining down, just imagine you need to be able to slip one sheet of paper underneath it. So you have to work the hip flexor of the leg that's down, just to gently ease it almost away from the floor, and that has really switched on the core. Okay, we've done maybe 8 or 10 circles in one direction, just switch directions. Lovely.
So it's still nice and calm and relaxed. Just let those shoulders melt down. Okay, and we're going to switch directions now. If you wish to, you can float the other leg as well. You can just keep it on the floor as it was, or you can start with them floated. Keep one leg still, and the other leg is moving. Drawing those circles or stirring some porridge. Use that leg to stir some porridge. Really nice, slowly. It's like a gloopy porridge, that it is quite thick and you can't do fast movements. It's just relaxed. And going round and round, and change directions. Now while we're changing directions, have just a quick check on your posture. These shoulders should still be relaxed down towards the mat. I still want that gap underneath your lower back. I still want the core gently switched on. Keep breathing. If you've forgotten to breathe, you'll be going blue by now. Keep breathing. It's all good. Keep breathing. It won't last forever. You're doing well. One more switch. Okay, so still keeping that core on. And switch the other direction. Then we've done 3 in each set of directions. Again, you don't have to have both legs raised. If you prefer to keep one down, please do so. That is fine. Okay, and bring the legs kind of together, and let one come down and the other come down. Should really be feeling it into those hip flexors. So if you want to, just let the knees come into the chest. We will have to do it on the other side, I'm afraid. Sorry. We'll have a little break in the middle. Just allow some release into the core. Allow the lower back a little massage. So if you rock side to side, just massage into the lower back. And releasing those hip flexors that have really been switched on throughout that exercise. Okay, bring the legs back down. Just making sure we're all still in neutral. So feet, knees and hips aligned. Tilt your marble. All settled. Shoulders down, spine is long. When you're ready, breathe in, switch on your core. Breathe out, float the other leg up. Okay, so we're going to do a set here of circles, trying to maintain that hip stability. So if I was looking at you from behind, your hips should not give away what's going on with the legs. Should all look really calm from your back, looking at your back. Don't forget this leg that's down, imagine I'm trying to steal a sheet of paper from underneath, so I'm just going to switch my core on to do that, and you really do feel that switch. I'm not letting the tummy dome, or if it is, that'll be my dinner. But you're keeping the tummy controlled, keeping the gap under the lower back. Switch directions. Lovely. So getting the movement into the hip joint, obviously working this hip flexor at the front, working the core, just maintaining this very light touch on the floor, and the calf is relaxed and the foot is relaxed. Okay, if you wish to, you can draw up the second leg and go back to the first direction of circles. So now with that second leg raised, your core's probably switched on even more. I just want you to think about drawing your shoulders back down. Relax them, relax. Upper body, from your tummy button upwards, you should be chilled. Shoulder blades are down the back, the shoulders away from the ears, switch directions. Have a quick check under your lower back. Is that still got that same arch, that same gentle small arch? The tummy's still under control, the core is switched on. Switch directions. So you'll be feeling this, trust me, you'll be feeling it. If you want to take the second leg down, or if it never came up, that's absolutely fine. And if you need to take a break at any time, take a break. It's all good, all good. And other direction. But if you've stuck with it, awesome. Working to the edge of where you can maintain control in your body. Okay, and release it there. Take one leg down, take the other leg down. Oh man. Right, let's bring those knees in, and again, just give that lower back a little massage. Oh, that should feel really nice. Really nice. So we've got some mobility in the rotation of the hip joint, which is really nice. Our next movement is going to be shoulder bridging, and again it is going to be a mobility focus into this shoulder bridge. So releasing the legs down, again hip distance apart, okay, and this time I just want you to have your feet a little bit closer in towards your bottom, so I can pretty much reach my heels just about my fingertips if I reach down with my hands. Okay, so they're quite tight in towards the bottom. But still, feet, knees, hips aligned. I'm just going to rock through that lower spine again, so rolling the marble. Just get all my clothes out from where they're tucked underneath, rolling it out. It's all feeling nice and smooth, and drawing those shoulder blades down the back. If you need that reminder, open out the chest, let the hands point up towards the ceiling, and just relaxing those shoulders down. Okay, so we've found a nice neutral position, small gap under the back. The chin is pointing up towards the ceiling. Please don't have a cushion under your head. If you had one before, just get rid of it for now. You don't need it for this move, okay? From here, I want you to just release any tension. So if you want to give the legs a little wobble, release any tension, that's all good. Breathe in, switch on the core. As you breathe out, the first thing I want you to do is tilt the pelvis. So push that lower back in towards the ceiling and push the hips up. So I'm squeezing these big muscles, the glutes, my bum, and gently easing up my vertebrae one by one. When I get to the top, I'm going to ease them back down. So what I'm imagining is my vertebrae like a string of pearls that I'm laying back down, coming back to neutral, making sure you're controlled again before you roll back up. So the core is still switched on, the shoulder blades still drawn down the back. I'm only coming back to kind of towards the middle top of the shoulder blades, so I'm not forcing any weight into my neck. Okay, the neck is quite well protected here. I'm just rolling up and down, and I'm thinking about the mobility. So if there is a little bit in your spine where actually you can't seem to separate the movement of the vertebrae, maybe 2 or 3 just want to clunk together, hold through that position. So with me it would tend to be my lower back. So if it was here and I'm like, I really can't separate the movement, you might just want to feather, just rock the hips side to side, maybe rock up and down, but just allow that bit of extra movement in that region and try and loosen out and rolling back down. So this is the move actually where I wanted to introduce that chicken wings movement. So when you get to the top if you wish, bring the arms over the top and then imagine you're grabbing onto that bar, draw the elbows towards the waist, reach them back up and then peel the spine back down. When it gets back down all the way to neutral, then the arms float back over. So it's kind of the back movement. So squeeze the glutes, tilt the pelvis, knees are pushing away and working through the heels. So there's not much weight in the toes, it's all in the heels. When I get to the top, the glutes are squeezed on, float the arms over, draw the elbows down so the arms are kind of almost dragging along the floor. And then peel the spine back down. And there's just a lovely combination there of strength and mobility. Because throughout the whole move, back in neutral, switch on the core, squeeze the glutes, tilt the pelvis. It's all going on. You've got this lovely mobility through the spine, the strength in the glutes to keep it high, pushing those knees away. Float the arms over. Draw the elbows down. So I've got strength in the lats, those big muscles, kind of towards the top of the back, around the sides of the back, and then I'm peeling back down. Oh, I nearly let my arms go then. Peeling back down before the arms come back. Now this time when you go, just keep an eye that the distance between your legs remains constant. So don't let the knees knock together, but similarly don't let them flap apart. Okay, if you want to, take the arms over. If the arm bit is all a bit much for you, just focus on the spine movement, that's fine. Now keeping the distance between the knees, slowly ease the spine back down. One by one if you can. And when you get back to neutral, then the arms come back. So again, thinking hard, making sure you're in neutral and concentrate before you go. And and then you tilt and squeeze. Knees push away, push into the heels. I'm trying to move one vertebrae at a time, the arms floating up. Pull and draw down the arms towards the body. Release them back up. Let the spine come back down. And when it gets back down and back to neutral, then the arms. We're going to do one more. Okay, one more. Right, make sure that you're ready for your last and finest. Okay, make sure the core's switched on and roll it up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Arms float over. Draw those elbows down so the shoulder blades are still pulled down the back. At no point are my shoulder blades floating up. So my shoulders actually remain still away from my ears. Keep that knee distance constant if you can. And bring the arms back over. Awesome. Fantastic. So we're just going to have a little stretch out for the glutes and the abductors here. So if you take the ankle over to the opposite knee, you almost have like a triangle, a figure 4 with your leg. And you can pull that far leg in towards yourself. If you want to, you can extend it up. We're just getting a nice stretch into this glute. You might choose to keep the leg down and gently push out with the hand. That might work better for you. See what you feel like. See how it feels to you. I quite like having the back leg extended. That works nicely for me. Just getting that nice stretch. We're just releasing. We've worked quite hard into the glutes. Do all those shoulder bridges. But the real focus we had there was on that mobility in the spine, really working up, working back. And release that. Take the other ankle across to the opposite knee. Draw that leg in. And if you wish to, you can extend up. Should feel really nice. So nice, gentle stretching tension. But just releasing out to where we've worked hard. And release that down. So I'm going to do a few hip rolls. What I'm going to ask is that if in the hip roll, if you get your feet roughly the width of your mat or so a little bit wider than you normally have them, wider than your hips. And you can have your arms nice and wide, palms up towards the ceiling if that works for you. If you prefer palms down, that's fine. But just having the body wide. And from here, I'm just going to ask you to roll into the hips. The knees are rolling side to side. It's just a fairly continuous movement. We're getting some movement through the hips. Movement into the lower back. So the lower back is getting a lovely little twist as well. But the shoulders both remain down, fairly evenly down and relaxed. So the next time your knees point towards me, you take that top leg over the top, so the back leg is coming over and you're just stretching it over. If you want to, you can use this front arm to gently ease it down, or you might just be happy having the arms wide. What you're trying to do, keep the back shoulder down and taking the front leg down, so you've got this twist going through the spine, through the lower spine, the mid spine. Really comfy twisting. And just hold this lovely twisted position. And release it there. Bringing the leg back. We're going to let the legs flop over in the opposite direction. I'm just going to have to shimmy myself so I don't kick a wall. There we go. Letting the legs flop over and then take the top leg across again. There you go. You can keep the arms wide if you wish. Trying to keep this front shoulder this time down towards the floor, and you can use the back arm just to gently ease the leg over the top if you wish, but feeling the twist through the spine. this should feel really nice and comfy. Nice and relaxing. Okay, release it there. So from here we're actually going to roll over onto our side. And we're going to have a side lying position where we are. If you grab your head pads, your cushion, whatever you've got, we're going to go for some chalk circles. So again, it's all about this mobility tonight. So if we start in this side lying neutral, knees, ankles, hips, all stacked. The shoulder blades are drawn down the back. The spine is long, okay, and the hands are just placed on top of each other. The head is comfortably rested on cushion, head pad, something like that. Okay, the spine is long, and I'm going to work through kind of a long spine. So I've still got a neutral curve at the back, but it's long. So I'm not going to be arching forwards, just this long position, and ease that top hip away, and that will draw the waist away from the mat. Okay, and here's your starting position. Breathe in, make sure the core is switched on. And as you breathe out, I want you to use this top hand to imagine you've got a piece of chalk in it. You're drawing a circle all the way above your head, opening out. So I'm looking up now, and the hands may well come off the mat at the back, depending on your flexibility and rotation of your spine. And it goes all the way around to the front. And again, it's coming up, over the top of the head. The chest is open. I'm trying to keep the hips completely stacked. Okay, so throughout this move, the lower body is ideally not moving. It's easier said than done, don't get me wrong. But try and keep those hips really well stacked. Just working through this range of motion. So hopefully this feels like quite a nice stretch into your shoulder, a rotation of the spine, an opening out of the chest. And if at any point there's a position you would like to hold, do that. So for me, as I go round, everything feels pretty good, and then I open out to this kind of fully open position, and it just feels quite nice to hold it there and let my body relax into that position. Still rotating through the long spine, so it's not like I'm arching through the spine, or no more than my normal neutral arch. Trying to keep those hips stacked up towards the ceiling, and when you're ready, just continue your movement, so moving at your pace. So if you want to take it slower, that's fine. I wouldn't necessarily whiz round like a helicopter blade, but taking it at your pace. Just enjoying the movement. So still maintaining that core switch on, that little hipster belt that you've got going. Still pushing away throughout the entire move, pushing that top hip away. Still maintaining the shoulder blades down the back. So even though the arm is coming up, the shoulder blade is still pulled down and retracted. And if you wish to, you can watch as much as you can the fingers going around. So just taking your head around with the movement if you'd like to. It's certainly rolling over as I go over. Lovely, and trying to keep the knees, ankles, hips stacked, top hip pushed away. Wonderful, just go for one more. And relax it there. Awesome. So we're going to come over onto our tummies. We're going to do a swan dive, which I don't think we've done for a few weeks actually. So I'm going to take my glasses off because otherwise I'll break them and face plant on the floor. That's not cool. But the position that we want with our arms, imagine they're kind of cactus arms. So my arms and head are making like a capital E shape. Okay. In terms of neutral on your front, I just want you to gently tuck the pelvis under. So you're gently pushing the pubic bone in towards the floor, just a little bit. You take your toes together and let the heels flop out. That will help to switch off the lower part of your body, which at this stage is what I'm just wanting to focus on, the upper part of the body. So from here, looking down towards the mat, breathe in, switch on the core, and as you breathe out, just gently ease the upper body gently away from the mat. So I'm using the muscles of my back. So it's going up and down. Now if you want to increase the range of movement, when you've worked through what the back muscles can offer you, gently push into the forearms. You'll rise up a little bit more before you come down. So work the back and the forearms if it's comfy. If it's not, just stick with the back. If it's not comfy at all, just go into a child's pose, that's fine, just rest this one out. But we're aiming to strengthen the muscles of the back, but also get some mobility into the spine in this hyperextended position. So in the extension. So if this is all feeling really comfy, and you wish to, you're pushing through the forearms, now you can push through the hands as well. And depending on the mobility that you have in your back, you may find that you can come up a lot higher, you may not be so comfy. Just work with your range of movement. You may still be just going up and down just 2 or 3 inches, and that is absolutely fine. So it's the back switches on, press through the forearms, press through the hands. Come back the way you came, forearms and back. Back, forearms, hands, hands, forearms, back. Now, if you wish to, we can also bring the lower body into this move. So when the upper body is down, then switch on the glutes, and you can lengthen through the legs and take them away from the mat. So it ends up being some kind of seesawing movement, that the upper body comes down, and then the legs go up, the legs go down, upper body goes. So it's a bit like a seesaw. It's a relaxed seesaw, okay? Because it is going in time with your breathing, it is going in time to be a smooth, slow, controlled movement. There is, as always, no rush. You may or may not find it more comfy to have the feet slightly wider apart on this. That might gently release some tensions in the lower back. If it doesn't work for you to use the lower body at all, don't. So that's fine. You can stick with the upper body, or vice versa. If actually the upper body just doesn't feel that comfy, just do the lower body, raise and lower, or sit it out. I'm really not worried. Okay, because I want you to be working to making yourself feeling better, not to giving yourself an injury and feeling rubbish tomorrow. Okay, so just a couple more. Okay, release it there, relax down. You bring your hands under your shoulders, just push up to go through all fours into child's pose. And if you take the knees wide, push the bottom back and allow the chest just to drop down towards the floor, allowing the bottom to push down towards the heels. If it's comfy, you can have the hands above the head. If you prefer to, you can let them come down towards the feet and just let the shoulders flop down. It depends what you would prefer. Just allowing the forehead to rest down towards the mat. If it's more comfy, you can have the forehead on the hands. Okay, so you've got a few options to hopefully make that work for you. Okay, coming up to all fours. Just want to do a couple of rounds of cat and cow actually. So from here, from our neutral all fours, and I'm not going to talk you through neutral too much because we're going into cat and cow anyway. So bring those shoulder blades up towards the ceiling, and then let the tummy drop down, head looks up, chest pushing forwards and down. And then working through these 2 end points, and finding for you where tonight you would like to spend that extra bit of energy and time to make it comfy. So if you push the body weight a little bit further backwards in that cat position, you'll feel the stretch lower down into the back. If you ease the body weight forwards so the shoulders coming kind of over the fingertips, and you maintain that cat, you're going towards the top of the back. You might want to move the hands around. You might want to look over the shoulders. Just feeling the extra stretch down the side or the other side. It might work for you to be drawing circles with the hips or figure eights. Just have a little play. Have a little play. What works for you? Or you might actually want that extended cow position a little bit more tonight. You might want that extension through the back, just really pushing the tummy down and getting that arch in the back, that lovely arch. Just whatever suits, whatever suits. Okay. And from here, you can grab your head pad. We're going to go back to the chalk circles on the other side. So I will whiz round. You may wish to do the same. Okay, but remembering this stacked position. So ankles, knees and hips aligned and stacked. Push that top hip away. Draw the waist gently away from the mat. The shoulder blades drawn down the back. The spine is long, okay? Full and wide breathing. So hopefully most of the session tonight has actually been quite calm and relaxed and really focusing on movement rather than strength, rather than worrying about getting your core holding everything in place, okay? It's a little bit more about the movement into the joints tonight. So ease the top hip away. When you're ready, start making those circles. Oh, hit me curtain. Okay, I'm just going to shimmy myself forwards. I've got a little bit more space. So is the nature of the beast when you're working out at home. It's often avoiding furniture, or children, or pets, all sorts of things. Yeah, isn't it nice we can still make our bodies move well? Even when we're not in our normal places to move, to exercise, we can still make it work. And it still feels good and it is still good for us. And that we are gratefully appreciating. So push that top hip away. So keeping that gap under the waist, spine remains long. And you're just slowly working through the range of movement. Again, if you want to, if there is a position you would like to hold, because it just feels quite nice, if you want to just hold it open. And in that held open position, maybe you can just correct a little bit. Maybe that top hip's dropped back. Maybe you can squeeze that back shoulder slightly further towards the floor. Maybe by having that moment to stay still, you can think about your position. So the chest ideally should be pointing up, probably looking up, maybe looking towards the hand that's gone. When you're ready, just coming back to the movement. And this hopefully just feels wonderful. It's a lovely opening of the shoulder, opening and a twisting of the spine. Really nice, smooth, flowing movement. And as always, just working at your pace. Maintaining that long spine, so it's a rotation around a long spine. And just having a couple more. Trying to keep those hips stacked. It is quite tricky actually. It is tricky. But every time we practice, we can get that a little bit better, 1% better each time. It's all good. Okay, resting it there. Wonderful. So from here we're going to come up to a sitting position. So just rolling yourself up however is comfy for you. We're just going to stretch it out. I mean, it doesn't feel like we necessarily need it because we've been stretching all night, but why not? So if you bring the feet together, bring the heels of the feet together, you might want to hold on to the feet or just hold on to the ankles. Use those elbows to ease the knees apart, still sitting up nice and tall. So we've had some lovely stretching tonight, some lovely mobility, some rotation. We've had work into the glutes and the shoulder bridge. We've had work into the hip flexors with those single leg circles that run your back. It's been a really nice little mix, but hopefully just making you feel great tonight. Really making you feel great. Okay, and releasing that there, we're going to take One leg down, let the other leg either flop to the side or it can just be bent. I'm going to stretch into the hamstring. So if it's comfy, we're going to bend from the chest forwards, chest pointed towards the straight leg, bend from the chest and just reach wherever works for you. That might be kind of towards the knee, it might be the ankle, it might be the foot, you might go way past the foot. But really focus on the bend at the hip. So you're getting that lovely stretch into the hamstring before you let the upper body flop over. Really feeling a nice stretch down the hamstrings. And switch sides. So doing the other side, sitting up really nice and tall, bending at the hips and then reaching, and if your upper body does want to go forwards, now's the time. Lovely, just still feeling that nice stretch. Pushing the chest in towards the leg. Okay, and release that there. You can just let the legs flop in front of you however is comfy. Take the hands behind, open out the chest at the front, squeeze the shoulder blades looking up towards the ceiling. And feel that stretch across the chest. Should feel lovely. Really does. Okay, from here coming through to all fours. So coming to all fours, tuck those toes underneath, pushing up through the legs, and bringing the feet in and rolling up slowly, slowly, slowly through the spine. Okay, we're just going to have a couple of big breaths in. I do hope you've enjoyed the session tonight. It's been a pleasure, as it always is, to spend my Monday evening with you. If you've enjoyed it, please like, please share, please comment. Anything like that is all fantastic. I'm so happy that so many people have been joining me for these sessions. It's a real pleasure and an honour to be able to share my evenings with you. Alright, and I hope to see you next week. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Monday or whenever it is you do tune in. Okay, bye!